Segment number 3, Hey Whatever TV. Thanks for joining us, folks. You're here live in Waukesha, Wisconsin with the Hey Whatever TV network at 1-877-HEY-WHAT. That's 1-877-HEY-WHAT. Feel free to call in at any time into the show here today. And we are at the Chad Pad in Waukesha, Wisconsin. I got my friend here, Chad, hosting this show with Hey Whatever TV. He's actually my co-host. But what I started to say here to some of our guests, we got Mike on, we got the Message Masters on, we got Horton on here, which is better known as Monkey Pirate. And essentially what I wanted to say to you guys is, yes, I was asked, how did I vote, or how do I vote, or how do I believe? And I was with the National Federation of Independent Business. You've probably seen these little black stickers that are on the businesses, the small businesses of America. And I served with the National Federation of Independent Business fighting for the free enterprise political system, helping entrepreneurial businesses grow and fight the government because of government regulations that have continued to haunt the small guy trying to make it with the American dream, and the paperwork nightmares and the ADA regulations, Americans with Disabilities regulations, the OSHA regulations, the EPA regulations, the regulations, and government in our businesses, and we need to get them out of our businesses. And Republicans say that they want to do that, but realistically, they just haven't been doing it. So I was a staunch Republican back in the 90s, and I now have denounced the Republican Party. I am not a part of the Republican Party any longer. I'm now with the Democratic Party, which Chad's going to tell you a little bit more about why he is a Democrat right now, but I'm not with them anymore either. Today, what I am is I am a constitutionalist. I am with the Constitution Party, but realistically, I'm an American. And, you know, what I'm here to say to you today is we want people to realize, as Americans, that you have a responsibility to this country to serve with your heart, to love people for where they're at, and to help this country come back together again, to love the very principles that it was written on. And that's why I am with the Constitution Party today, because they're taking us back to what Georgie Washington, what Tommy Jefferson, and what Johnny Adams and all these cool dudes that wrote the Constitution of the United States, which was built on biblical principles. And you see that I am not ashamed to be a Christian here today. And this country, whether people want to believe it or not, is based on biblical principles, and that's how this country has maintained the longest standing government ever in the history of our world. We have had the most successful government. Now, it's got a lot of problems in it, and I'm not happy with everything that's in it, but I am still proud to be an American, and I still would like to believe that Jesus, as you see here on my hat, is still the man in charge of this country, because it was built on Christian biblical principles that go back as far as the beginning of time. So anyway, that's the answer for you. I know you guys were wondering, you know, where we are and where we stand, and definitely glad to have our listeners asking great questions like that. Chad, you want to go ahead and give our listeners an answer of why you are a Democrat and why you believe that you know, the Democratic Party was a good choice for you this year?
Well, it boils down to two simple things. The Democratic Party, I'll give me
NFL, Packer Power.
Yes, and we are Green Bay Packer fans.
Sorry about that.
The real America's team. Anyway, to answer your question, the reason why I am a diehard Democrat is because they historically tend to vote better on him.
Yes, you are. You're on.
Sorry, Chad, didn't mean to interrupt.
Sorry, Chad, didn't mean to interrupt.
Okay, we've got our co-host on here, the Scribe, and sorry for jumping on in to Chad's explanation here, but we're going to just have you be quiet for just a second. That Their Message Master. We're halfway through the next 10-minute recording section. And go ahead. Take it away, Chad.
Thank you. I'm very happy to have these, to have our newest, co-host on for the meeting. Anyway, to continue my answer, the reason why I vote Democratic is they tend to side more with disability-related issues, and because I have cerebral palsy, disabilities, and disability laws, and disability rights really hit home, and they are near and dear to my heart, and that's why I will always vote Democratic until we can get enough states are behind a third party.
Okay, so essentially what you're saying is if the other parties out there were able to open themselves up a little bit more and embrace what was going on with the Americans with Disabilities Act and working with the various different programs that work with people that have physical challenges. And we're not talking about the people that are just collecting a check saying they're disabled now. We're talking about a man here who has not been able to walk ever since birth. Is that correct?
Right, but we had quite a breakthrough in that regard last week.
Really? What happened?
I was able to take on my first few steps during a therapy intensive, and it was the most amazing experience in my life. And I wrote all about it on the Hey Whatever blog. So
Excellent.
So I invite you to take a look at that as well.
That is fantastic, Chad. And if you guys want to go to www.heywhateverconcept.com and you would like to check out the blog that Chad added, Chad has his own identity within Hey Whatever Social. Hey Whatever Social, again, at www.heywhateverconcept.com. You will be able to find it. If you go to our homepage at heywhatever.info, you will also see all kinds of things right at the top of the page about GoTo Social Network. If you go to the social network, you'll see a picture of Chad there in his wheelchair. I think you got one of your buddies with you. You're in a Green Bay Packer jacket.
Right. Yeah.
So he's got one of his friends there at a Packer game, and they're just having a good time. And yeah, this is what we're talking about here is because of the money that comes out of some of our checks out there and goes towards government programs. Not all government programs are bad, and I think that's where sometimes they want to make it black and white. They want to make it all or nothing,
Right.
And they don't realize that some of these government programs are good, and there are Republicans as well as Democrats that support those programs, but it gets so diluted in the media slambasting that does go on, and they don't take this real open, down-to-earth approach. And I'm going to tell you something. That's why me and Scribe didn't come here with a suit and tie on tonight. And I appreciate the fact that you're dressed up nice, brother. That's great. But we didn't want to come here with a suit and tie on tonight because we are a different type of media. We are a different type of television company. We are really real people here, down to earth, talking to you, trying to connect with you as to where you're at. I'm going to let the Message Master take the last minute of this broadcast to just kind of go ahead and share a few thoughts.
Well, first thing I comment on, so I can understand where it's coming from, wanting to voting for Democrats and their sensitivity to issues that he's facing on his own. I think it's a real, I think it could serve as a real eye-opening experience for Americans as a whole to realize that if they would give, especially these high-powered politicians and big money bags and things with y'all, people like this, if they would give what they need to give out of the goodness of their heart, the government wouldn't have to take it, but they have to be given